Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the weekly Roundup with Mountaineers' all-time winningest head football coach, Tim Camp. Coach Camp is currently in year 15 at the helm with the Mounties, joining us today after a big homecoming win. Coach, thanks for joining me again. How are we doing today?
I appreciate you having us on today. I'm doing really, really good.
Awesome. Of course, after a big win, right, as I mentioned, the Mounties are coming off a big 37-0 shutout this past weekend, and Montana State Northern came to town. EOU took care of business, jumping out to a 27-0 lead at the half, added 10 more in the second half to get to that 37-0 final score. There's a lot we can talk about, whether it's the defense forcing the Lights into negative 43 rushing yards and holding them to just 28 yards on the day, or on the offensive side, we saw a little bit of everything. Aiden Patterson had himself a big day, breaking the 100-yard mark and scoring a touchdown. We saw Parker Robinson do it all out of the Wildcat, throwing for a touchdown, and then breaking a 56-yarder for the last score of the game. Carson Bonning threw a couple touchdowns, one coming off a little double reverse action that wrapped back to him as he dropped it into Willie Camp, who took it in for another score for a 39-yard touchdown. All in all, big win and a great day for the Mounties. What were your thoughts on the game, Coach?
I think the biggest thing is for the alumni to come back, to be able to put something on the field that everybody can be proud of, and kids played extremely hard. There was just a lot of really, really good things, from the golf scramble to the homecoming parade to the bonfire and then to the game itself that day. I just think that when you come back to Eastern Oregon, and we've said it for a long time, Mounties don't lose homecoming. This team stepped up and they did everything that they could to make sure that the alumni had not just a good time, but a great time, because there was a difference.
Right, and there's a lot of big things going on, as you mentioned. I mean, there's all the different events, the golf scramble. There was a Title IX event Friday night. Of course, Saturday morning, the field house ribbon cutting. A lot of big things going on. And then, of course, the game with some great results. If we look a little bit more closely at that game, we saw a lot of non-traditional looks, from the Wildcat to that double reverse pass. You guys had a lot of success with it. Is that something you think isn't utilized enough nowadays? Or is that something where you have the right personnel that just allows you to pull it off, so why not take some shots with it?
Well, I think every time that you go to, whether you go to your homecoming or you come to Eastern Oregon, you always got to have a few tricks up your sleeve for the homecoming crowd, right? And so we kind of dialed some of those things up, and then just to have the players execute those things was something that I thought, hey, they're dialed in. We can extend the playbook a little bit more, and we're going to continue to do so. I think that at the end of the day, we're going to swing for the fences with everything we got. We're going to unload everything from this point on, and it was just really, really good to see what we've been practicing to be able to put that out on the field offensively, defensively, and also in the special teams game.
Yeah, a lot of great things, and it made for some exciting football, that's for sure. Another thing that we talked about heading into that game was the weather. Obviously not a sunny homecoming day that you'd hope for. It was windy, wet, off and on with rain. But the team handled it really well. How did you guys prep for that during the week, considering that was really the first game all year that hasn't been sunny and 70 degrees?
Right, that was something we had talked to the guys about. Hey, make sure you dress them warm. There's no excuses. Northern's going to be here. They're going to play in it. We're going to play in it. Just go out and play our game. I think that was the biggest thing, and really just, you try and get better, and don't let the elements, don't let the officials, don't let the crowd, just go out and play and have fun and enjoy the moment. And again, show everybody in the stands the hard work that you put in. And I think that they were able to do that. And then, this team, just as we just need some success. We need to continue to stack things up, continue to build things, because we've been close. But at the same time, this wasn't a complete game by any means. But at the same time, to be able to watch different players go out there and showcase their talents in every phase of the game was something that I was pleased in. And to be able to watch these guys, how they've been resilient, how they've continued to fight, and continue to just go out and play football. But we did play it at a higher level, and that's what the expectation is around here, is continue to build and continue to play football at a higher level. So again, was it clean in all aspects? Absolutely not. But at the same time, the guys had fun, they enjoyed it, they played hard. So I'm extremely proud of them.
Right. It's, a huge step forward, getting a big win, and obviously you're getting into really a tough part of the schedule, because you're going into, the next 3 games, 3 teams that you've seen before already this season,
right,
and 3 good teams, to say the least. But regardless, that's a big win. What are the takeaways from this last game? Obviously the momentum is huge, and taking that step forward, getting that win. Is there anything else that, you really think you can take from this game moving forward?
Well, I do. I think there's a lot of things that you can take. You can break as you break the film down. Hey, we can be a little bit better there. Hey, this could happen. What would be answers for for Carroll College? They're gonna watch this film and they're gonna be ready for everything. So we got to continue to build in in every phase and not just go out there and, hey, here's a football, let's play. You got to be creative, and I think that's the one thing that as we've done the last 3 weeks. You got to adapt to your team a little bit too. So to be able to do some things and continue to build on the successes that you had, and be able to look at things in general, whether it be play wise, personnel wise, whatever it is, and to be able to be creative. Put this guy over here. He might be just a little bit better in this position. So I think that's what you're going to end up seeing, because we got a great evaluation stage going on through these last 3 games, and it's going to be huge for Eastern Oregon and the football program.
Yeah, let's flip the script and look at this next week. I mean, we're officially at that point in the season, where EOU has played every team in the conference. Now we get to see 3 opponents we've already played this year, starting with Carroll, who's coming off a huge win over Rocky Mountain College,
right,
who, was number 14 in the country at that point. When I say big win, we're talking about a shutout, a 24-0 win,
right,
in which they gave up 26 rushing yards and 96 passing yards. And fans can recall the Mounties' last matchup with the Saints earlier this season when Carroll pulled out a 2-point win over EOU thanks to a last-second field goal. I mean, that game was full of action. Carson Bonding had a big day with 275 yards in the air and a touchdown. Malachi Spurrier was on the receiving end of nearly half those yards and that touchdown. But all in all, this should be an interesting matchup after a close game earlier this year, and both teams are coming off big wins. What should we expect to see going into this game, Coach?
Well, I think the big thing is I think we match up well with them, right? We got to be able to travel the correct way. We got to be able to prepare the correct way this week. I believe that we had a really good practice yesterday. You got to continue to prepare, and I think that's the one thing that these guys are understanding. If you're going to practice like you're going to play, so I mean we got to up that game. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to stop Carroll's run game, and we want to make sure that the power of the counter, the stretches, and the inside zone, that we can bottle that stuff up. And we've been able to we were able to slow that down last time. So again, I don't think you're ever going to stop them, but at the same time, we can slow those guys down, and then we got to be productive offensively. I think that's the one thing that continued to build off last week and continue to build off of how we played them in the past 3 to 4 games is going to be very, very similar. But we got to get a run game going. We got to play action pass, and we got to be able to hit the open balls. And I think that it's all decision making. I think our scheme works well against them in both phases. But at the same time, it's not just Carroll. It's our ability to make our play. And if we're able to make our play, good things will be able to happen. And again, just play hard, play fast, play through the whistle, and just do our job and play Mountie football. I think those are some keys to success in this game against Carroll.
Right, kind of beat me to the punch there. Usually we wrap up with that, but that's all great stuff, Coach. Appreciate that. And then, the other question I have for you here regarding this upcoming game is, what is the biggest challenge going into a game like this where you've already played this team once this year? Obviously, this is one now on the road, so it's a little different, but that doesn't happen in every conference. I mean, a lot of other conferences around the country, you play each team once and that's it in a season. Maybe you run into them in a postseason if you're, the top 2 teams in the league. So it's a little bit unique in the Frontier Conference like that. And granted, time has passed between the last game. Teams change throughout the season. But again, you're seeing a team for the second time in a season. And what's the biggest challenge when it comes to that?
I think the biggest thing is to go into the first game knowing that you have enough in the tank, but not to empty it, right? Mm-hmm. And to be able to show them. It's kind of what we talked about earlier. Be creative. Show them something different. You can't just go out there and say, again, hey, here's a football, let's go play. You got to be creative offensively, defensively. Show them something that they haven't possibly seen by us before, or somebody else has had a little bit of success on them, and continue to build off that. So open your playbook up and make sure that you're going to be able to stress the defense. Make sure that you're going to be able to, one of those keys to success, stop the run. How are we going to be able to do those things? So, again, it's a tricky situation because you want to go in that first game with enough, but you don't want to show everything. So I think it's a kind of that fine line. I've been doing it here a long time, where we have been playing, these teams twice, and that's always been the key, but at the end of the day, you don't want to handcuff yourself. You want to go in there with enough firepower where you can go and, allow the kids to make the plays. So I I think that's what I would say, is just to make sure that you have enough in the playbook and you're opened up enough in special forces and opened enough in defense and offense so that you can go out there and you can be successful, and you're not just pinned down, hey, we're running inside zone, we're running stretch, hey, we might run a pinball toss. So, again, just the creativity of being able to put a game plan together that's going to go out there and give our kids a chance to be in the correct position so that they can make plays.
Right. Sounds like a pretty kind of, thin line or, to walk kind of, right? Definitely its own challenges. So, yeah, no, that's awesome stuff, Coach. Any other thoughts here as we head into this upcoming game against Carroll?
Well, I just appreciate everybody coming back for homecoming. I thought that was great. It was great to see a bunch of people here, and then for our guys to have success. I'm proud of this group of guys. We're going to keep battling. We're going to keep doing everything we can to make Mountie Nation proud. Right
on. Awesome stuff, Coach. As always, thank you for your time, Coach.
I appreciate you. Thanks for thinking about Eastern.
Hey, yeah, a lot of great stuff. Mountie's coming off a big win, so the Mountaineers take on Carroll College on the road up in Helena, Montana this Saturday. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks again for joining us on the weekly Roundup. Don't forget to follow Mountaineer Athletics on all of its social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by searching @EOU Athletics. We'll see you next week, Mountie Nation.